Hey, today I'm welcoming Hind, CEO at ARCube, an immersive tech studio in Dubai that builds AR, VR, and MR experience across sectors. I think this topic is very, very important because VR is one of the big trends for the next decade. And I remember that when Mark Zuckerberg gave interview for YC Combinator, he mentioned that for his company, for Meta, VR and AI is the focus, one of two main focuses for the next 10 years. And it's cool that it's not only using in gaming and metaverse, but also in marketing, real estate, training, etc., etc. So I think it's very exciting and very interesting topic today. This we will talk about AR Cube, about tech landscape, business models, case studies, and advice for startups, and the intersection with Web3 and crypto, and many, many more. Hello, Hind.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm really happy to have you, really. Could you give a bit of information? How did you start AR Cube? What was the vision?
So, I'd like to tell you that it was a very clear vision and we've identified a problem, and that was really not the case. I came across our demos and I was like, wow, back in 2012, it was quite new. It wasn't created then, it was created before, but it was still not, as you mentioned in your intro, like today we're using it in so many fields, but back then it was very new. So I knew that there was something in it, and I took it, and I came all the way from Canada to a particular event and spoke with people, and they were like, wow, that's nice, but how can we apply it in our industry? And so then I started to think about it. And when I think about it, kind of shaped the way we approach clients up to that day. We are very proactive. We don't wait people to call us. We come up with ideas, and so we worked on it, and then we identified ways to enhance what was existing. And slowly, we started to see that the virtual world could actually respond to issues in the real world, and the rest is history.
Nice. So, how does it help you to be located here in Dubai? And is like Dubai, United Arab Emirates, a good base for immersive tech?
Well, Dubai pushes innovation like literally nowhere else in the whole world. Like
Yeah.
it was true back in 2012, and it's look where we're at today with AI and all these things. So it made its way.
What is ARCube's core offering? What type of experience do you build?
So we're a company specializing initially in developing from the concept all the way to the deployment, all sorts of experiences. We have over time specialized in permanent attractions, but we use technology, all the line of extended reality, meaning AR, VR, MR. But we are now boosting all this using AI because it's a major driver in our industry now. Also do like metaverse, but we have up to 2018 we were developing a lot of servicing, and since then we have been creating our own IPs, developing tools and so on. So it kind of evolved.
And what's the key sectors that you are working for? Real estate, tourism, metaverse, government?
Yeah, it's a bit of all this, but real estate for sure. The capability to see things before buying. That's a powerful tool. Tourism, yes. I mean, we've worked with Burj Khalifa, Sharjah Tourism, and so on. So yeah, that power of being able to feel or the space or the location again without having to go, or just enhance what you're seeing. It's also that possibility to bring when you think of mixed reality exhibits, for instance, you can bring like landmarks or museums stories to life. It's quite interesting. And then you have if you think about manufacturing, like in the automotive, we use it to create like prototypes in a way that wasn't possible before. So people from teams from different parts in the world can see the 3D as if it was in front of you, bring iterations live, and then only you go to prototyping. So it saves a lot of cost, time, and so on. So yeah, that's industries where some of the industries we're working in.
Nice. Could you name a few projects that you built, if it's not under NDA?
The very first project we did here was for Dubai Sports Council, so that will always be a special. We will always, and then there's Burj Khalifa, the telescopes I was mentioning. It's quite it's systems that you can see the whole city in geolocation manner using augmented reality and other layers of technologies. There's different ones, but these are like the ones that I that have special place. Sorry, in our roadmap, I'd say.
Wow, Burj Khalifa, it sounds really strong.
Yeah, it's what made put us on the map. I'd have to say after years of we came a bit too early on the market, I would have to say, because it was very difficult to explain what AR was on the phone, and do cold calling or like.
Yeah.
So without having these demos and showing them, it's yeah, definitely Burj Khalifa was a great opportunity, and will always be grateful for this one. Yeah.
Now still a lot of people don't understand what does it mean VR and what the difference between AR, VR, and MR. Could you explain what's the difference?
So in short, I would say AR adds to your reality, with layers of computer as the element. VR will replace your reality, and mixed reality is a combination of both. So you have the headset of the VR, and we have the AR portion together. So that's like if I summarize it.
What's the main focus you are working with? It VR, right? The most popular one.
We work with all of them. Sometimes we mix some of them as well. So it's really, but the focus today is much more with AI powered experiences. We are entering into a new chapter with AI, things that we couldn't think of previously that are happening today, whether it's in, like the creation part and it's meant to enhance speed a lot in the next couple of years. So when I first started, this was not even a dream, so we were talking about the tip of the iceberg, but we didn't know that that tip was like we are still on the tip today.
Wow, cool. Which tool and platforms do you use in ARCube?
You mean in to develop the experiences?
Yeah, yeah.
So we use literally everything, Unity, Unreal Engine. In terms of hardware, we it depends on so many factors from the client side. So we work with all companies, but depending on the requirements, we will present the optimal option for the client. So it's Oculus, Magic Leap 2, Apple Vision Pro, and so on.
Very cool. Every time when I'm thinking about VR, like also AR and MR business, I'm also always thinking that it's something very, very difficult to move. What's the biggest technical and business challenges you have in this business?
So at the beginning was to explain the idea, the concept, what we can do, how we can achieve it, and people would be skeptical. But Dubai being Dubai, they would give a try, And back then, the economy was more like it was a land of opportunity. It's even more today, but that was definitely so the communication part was definitely that part. Then the second challenge was to convey that message to the end user because it was new for them, right? So what do we do? Okay, I'm here. What's next? So there was all that information layers that needed to be added. And as time passed, this changed because the consumer became much more aware of these technologies. They knew how it worked and the standard became higher. And then COVID hit, and COVID has accelerated the adoption of technology. Some studies talk about 30 years, so people are much more demanding today. There must be a real reason for them to download that app or to use that technology. And I can name a bunch of others, but in terms of development, like from a company's side, it's to find the best talents. That's always a challenge. But I think I can speak in the name of many companies worldwide. It's not only here, but definitely talent is a major challenge.
How brands can integrate immersive experience in marketing onboarding events? For example, in metaverse, like it's easy, but regular brands, for example, let's say it's a clothing brand or some e-commerce, do you have some ideas how they can integrate immersive experience?
If you look at immersive tech from a growth lenses, you will see that it's never about chasing trends, right? It's really about creating experiences that people will remember first and foremost. So if you think about marketing, for instance, they will use AR, VR in their campaigns, and they'll use it to enhance it to make sure that they will turn their campaign into moments of participation. So you're no longer just looking at a product or an ad, you're actually stepping into the story of the brand, of the experience, whatever it is. And so people talk about these things. It helps a lot, the word of mouth, with social media, people share it. So yeah, there's this. There's it. You mentioned events. Definitely in events, it adds layers of storytelling. You know, the holographic installations and the interactive stages, and if you want to push the experience beyond the actual venue, you can use web AR or so people can even try it at home. But then there's also, it's not only about talking or that people will remember, but also if it can save time, money, and so on. This is definitely music to the ear of a company. So to think about onboarding or training, you know, VR brings that kind of facility because it's faster, more convenient, and there's zero risk because you're in the comfort of your office, and you can have a proper training. Plus, employees prefer that. They remember way much more the training that comes from an immersive experience than from the traditional media. So it has benefits, you know. So the bottom line of all this is the opportunity of growth is very clear. You know, immersive tech is not replacing marketing or learning. It's literally enhancing them so that it takes every opportunity of interaction to turn it into the possibility of entering a story, and this will be remembered.
Yeah, I remember when COVID started, and well, we couldn't work in the office. And at the beginning, it was meetings like in Google, in Zoom, Teams, etc. And then I think it was in 2022, we made the all hands meeting in virtual reality room. It was really cool. So we had stage, we had DJ, we had like we could talk to each other in private to select this specific mode, and it was really cool. It was like experience that you are in the group but being online. It was
Yeah. So
really
that's basically what metaverse has,
yeah.
because COVID was was the stage, a moment where metaverse kind of exploded. But this could be a full topic on one podcast. You know, there's so
Yeah.
much to be told about it. But yeah, the people are always curious about new stuff. You know, and then we try it and have so that's what it allowed, and then we had to kind of shape the ideas so that it can become scalable. That was the challenge post COVID.
Yeah. I just don't understand why metaverse not became so much popular as it was expected. Because I remember a lot of companies created their own metaverse. They started to sell land in metaverse, like NFTs, and it had a lot of expectations. But now the trend is a bit went down, so it's not so. Maybe it needs more time. So how do you think? What makes let's say AR experience go viral? What can make people feel enough to share?
So see, the metaverse is still very much alive. It may not be the buzzword may have faded, but the infrastructure behind the metaverse is actually is it's being integrated into our daily lives. You know, just if you think, I can give you examples. You know, if you can think about Apple Vision Pro, for instance, it brought spatial computing mainstream, and not everyone may be able to afford it because the headset is expensive for the average person, but they know what it is. Well, there's this, there's NVIDIA with its Omniverse, you know, it's with the digital twin, it powers digital twin factories and the cities around the world. So there's that too. That's all like metaverse thinking. What else? Meta. You mentioned Meta in your introduction. Meta has changed its name in 2021. That's how much they believed in metaverse, you know. And so, but they did a lot for that space. They're the reason why the headsets have like the prices became affordable and people could buy it. So when I remember when we first did the VR park, VR sports in Dubai Mall, people would pay ticket and come and try the experience because it was very common to have one at home. But shortly after, like you would see people like try it, and the HTC, for instance, they have their own library, so it was easy to kind of access to games. But it forced companies like us to come up with very unique content so that people could come pay the ticket and come and play the or live the experience. So content was became key. That's way much more than the actual headsets, you know. And as we'll go in time, that's what's going to happen, and the price will continue to drop and become mainstream. So yeah, so it's not. So to answer your question, it's not the world has sort of shifted from the metaverse as a place to spatial internet as an ecosystem, you know. So it's maturing, it's not going anywhere, it's just maturing, it's moving from hype to infrastructure basically.
Where do you see the biggest growth opportunities in the next 2-3 years?
Definitely, I would tell you training, AI powered immersive experiences. We can think about VR, for instance, that are used experience used to develop corporate like soft skills. This is a business of estimated to $500 billion by 2031, so it's huge. Definitely, this I would say tourism will continue to be one for sure. And the third one, I would say it's retail oriented. You know, the virtual try-ons became popular because AI will help in terms of costing. So it's going to cost way less to create these experiences, you know? And so there will be more companies that will be using virtual try-ons, and this drags sales. So definitely this is another sector that we'll hear more and more about for sure. As so that's the thing, headsets will shrink more and more because it's becoming, you know, smaller, the trend is smaller, and the AI will be more perfectioned. That's what's going to happen. We're going to turn the pilots or the niche pilots into everyday tools.
No, that's interesting. There is an opinion that metaverse is rebranding as AR. And actually, what I can see that yeah, metaverse is not so much popular and so much hyped as it was before. But now there are a lot of projects who create AR AR experience for not for the B2B but for the B2C users. For example, you can buy digital clothes, so it's still just you, but you have elements of virtual reality. So do you think it's that's true that it's rebranding to AR?
It's not, it's two different things, you know, because metaverse, you're more into the virtual world. What's a metaverse at the end of the day? It's the capacity to be able to dialogue or exchange with other people, a factor related to being able to shop. It changes the way you learn, you shop, and you interact with each other. So AR is something different, you know, so I wouldn't say that it's rebranding. If it's rending it into what I mentioned just earlier, you know, it's already in there. The infrastructure itself is being used into different tools, but not like as AR, you know. It's so I wouldn't agree with that statement, to be honest with you. Reason why it faded out, like the term of metaverse, is people would go there and what do you do? What's in there? They wouldn't understand it. But this base served for us and companies that wanted to have this to think about, okay, what do we do with this? What's the purpose of it? What do we gain from that? What are the realistic expectation, you know? So that's the thing. That's how we turned it into tools. For instance, learning. There's advantages to walk into different places, see 360 of locations being tested. So we integrate a lot of elements into the metaverse, but it has to have a purpose. Whereas back in the days of COVID, it was more of you know, it was almost PR stunts, you know. It was, let's try this, let's try that. But Roblox did it very well. You know, if you look, they have so many worlds that worked well, and that there was prices. but the age group that was targeted for this is younger, whereas when we deal with companies, it's a different type of age group. So it really depends on what was the objectives, and clarify the objectives, and from there you move. But I think that that buzz has actually been very beneficial for companies because it helped to shape tools that are relevant today, and that will be able to even perfection more as AI will get more on point.
Yeah, 100%. If you had 50,000 to help a startup use AR for growth, what would you build first?
Probably I would tell them to go with web AR because it's something everybody has a phone, so to be able to access to a maximum first people. But then again, the recommendation would depend on the product, who they're trying to reach out to, and so on. So, but generally speaking, that would be web AR, just to be able to reach to more people.
Yeah, yeah, good one.
And it's easy because you turn on your phone and then you just point on the marker or QR code, and there you are. You're stepping into the experience. That's it. So you don't need to buy a headset or to. It's just there in your phone.
How are you measuring success in ARCube? Do you have ROI for clients? Which KPIs are you measuring?
Yeah, so we look into time. How long do they stay immersed in the experience? Are they removing the headset after 30 seconds, or are they continuing to the end? Do they return? Projects, we design them in a way that it's not a one-shot deal. We want them to come back to it. So that's another element. And also, how much do they remember of the experience? Did it make them feel something up to the point to share it with people? So that's the kind of things that we're not really measuring by a number of views or clicks. It's really about the impact it has on the end user. The what they remember, how it made them feel. It's more and what do they do with all this at the end?
If you had to give three actionable pieces of advice to a growth marketer about immersive tech, what would they be?
So I tell them to start small. Let's just start somewhere and test it often. One thing that we've noticed is that often customers, especially today, they want to have like guarantees that this will like what kind of result, but it's not possible. You have to try. If your budget is smaller, try smaller, but just start somewhere. So that's definitely one. And then make it emotional, not technical, and because that's, as we discussed, that's really what people will remember. And measure what matters: attention and action. What the end user does about it. So yeah.
Just between blocks, did you have any funny stories with your clients when you installed something and it was not what they expected, but it was better or funny or something weird? They could see something else, not something that they ordered at the beginning. I'm sure that there was a lot of this kind of things because you're working so many years.
That's how we also realigned our things, because often they don't know what they want, and then you start to show them things, and then you come with the offer, but they want all the other things that you have shown, but for the price of the basic. So you're
Mm.
like, no, but funny stories they had. They couldn't understand how much work it would require, but it looked easy when you try it. I mean, when we first came, it was new, so people would be willing to pay a bit more, but then competition started to come in, and some people would propose like very low cost. So it's just a normal, it's the law of the market. It's just normal offer and demand. But I wouldn't say I can't think of any like funny stories, but sometimes just a reaction, when they wear the headset for the first time. This can be funny, but I think that all this have led us to shape how to approach the clients, how to walk them through, because we assisted a lot of companies to basically enter the virtual world. So but it's through all these experiences that we're kind of able to do it in a more seamless manner today, because we know what to expect. We kind of, whereas at the beginning was like everything was new for them and for us.
Yeah. So the most difficult part here is to explain, to present, to educate, right? Because nobody knows what to expect.
Now today it's more to because they go very far with ideas. Now the challenge today is to set the expectations right. They ask sometimes like 5 projects in one, but for the project of as I mentioned, extremely basis. So that's where we have to step in and explain, what's feasible, what's not within their budget. But yeah, it's interesting because at the beginning was very much the information part from the from the business, but for also from the customer. And as customer has evolved, so did the companies. Then we got into another level of information, but it was just to set the record straight. So yeah.
If you could live one day inside of any virtual world, how would you describe your day?
It's actually some have already tested it. But if I could go in a world that doesn't like exist, I'm a big fan of Egypt, for instance. I would love to be in a virtual world and finally understand how to build these pyramids, for instance. So, yeah, I would probably go back in history and live like moments of history. Definitely, that would be things that I would love to do. But then again, we can sort of recreate it in a certain way with the information we have.
Nice, nice.
In the next 5 years, I'd say immersive tech will become invisible. It's going to be part of our daily life, just as you see the headsets that are becoming like wearables and environments that would be AI powered. So
Mm,
the creation will be much faster. So
yeah. What's the merge with the AI, data, and human emotions?
yeah, would you like me to answer this? 'Cause I think it's very interesting. So what's exciting about how in immersive tech, AI and data are coming together around the human motion, it's quite unique, because when you think about it, immersive tech is the space or the world that you're stepping into. And then you have the that is all the that brings the intelligence. So it adapts the experience to
Mm,
what you do. And then you have the data that kind of compiles all this and helps its learning so that each interaction becomes better over time. So when you put all this together, the result isn't static anymore. We're talking about worlds that responds to you, that at your pace, your interest, and even your mood. So we're definitely moving. The digital experience is not only what is it looks immersive, but also feels intelligent. So that's where we would be heading.
nice, cool. And about the psychology of immersive storytelling, how our brain remembers, well, it's our brain remembers experience better than ads, right?
Yeah, definitely. 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 I mean, as humans, we definitely remember experiences way much more than ads because the traditional advertising will focus or will fight for attention, right? Whereas immersive tech will is the initial aim or the aim is really to create that emotion, and emotion is really what sticks. So that's why VR works well, if well done, of course, because we don't only show you the story, but we put you in it. So from a psychological perspective, we tend to remember information way much more when we feel it or when we live it
Yeah.
rather than just to hear it or see it. So and there's even studies that shows that immersive tech think it increases by 70% level of retention compared to traditional media.
Well, the most popular example is with the games.
Definitely. I mean, that's one thing that we always put in projects, like, well, when required, but because the gamification is something like when you can win points, you need that hook, that thing that people will remember. And the fact that it's new, that's one of the things why people share things, they share it when it's easily accessible. They share it when you create an emotion, joy, nostalgia, whatever, just give them something. And
Yeah.
then after that, as you as a user, you would did you try this? Try it? Like it's easy. You make it easier for the end user to share it at the end.
Yeah, it's actually interesting part because right now we are living in that's what I think, we are living in a new economy of attention. because right now what you can monetize, it's attention. That's how games works, that's how social media works, that's how I don't know, even in crypto, like you just create news, the point systems, tab games, and people exchange their attention to some points and then to some money. So I think it's very, very, very important to add from immersive experience point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for years, for at least the past 15 years, the success online was measured by the number of clicks, numbers of views, and the influencers and brands. And it was about the time that you see the screen time, right? And the more you had, you won. Today, now things have shifted. People are no longer, they don't want to just see the content; they want to step in it.
Yeah.
And so that's what technologies like AR, VR, MR, and so on allow, And I think it would be safe to say that immersion is the new attention. Yeah.
What pitfalls should marketers, startups avoid when adopting AR, VR?
Yeah. So one pitfalls, there's few. I mean, we still see in the space like companies or that they will be using AR, VR just because it's like as a gimmick or just because it's cool, But that's not enough. Not with the consumer of today. It has to have to really bring an added value to the experience. Another thing, it's to ignore the usability because if when trying to access they can't or trying to interact with your content they're having issues, well, you just lost a customer and it's fast people talk about it. So you really need to make sure that it's well tested, it's working, because besides your mom or dad, I mean, people won't come back, so that's extremely important. And maybe another one is like, and that I think is the most important, is skipping the storytelling, because without the story, no matter how great the technology is, you're kind of it shows the experience very weak,
Yeah,
So yeah, that would be three pitfalls I can think of.
yeah, 100% agree.
It feels empty. It feels empty without a story, especially now, with AI, because AI will help to create the experience faster, but the storytelling is really what makes it unique, So that's extremely important in the creation of this project.
Yes, 100%. So, what's the synergy between Web3 and AI, NFT plus AR experience?
It's a very interesting question, actually, because it's extremely exciting right now to see how Web3 is coming along with AI, because Web3 is all about owning your assets, your creations, your identity, right? And AI is about creation, so it's generating the worlds, characters, the stories in an instant. So the next step of the digital experience is not only about consuming content, but it's really about co-creating the worlds that you will step in. So it's a very interesting dynamic. Up to now, that stepping in part wasn't really there, all this put together. So Web3, like in summary, Web3 owns it, AI creates it or builds it, and people shape it. That's really where we're going.
You so much, Hind. I would like also to ask you three like takeaways from you, three things to remember about the topic that we discussed.
So immersive tech isn't about the future. It's literally now. Through the experience that we lived, at least the creativity matters more than the actual hardware, especially as we mentioned, as time passes, everybody will have one at the end. And the next digital evolution is about emotion more than visual.
Thank you again. I will mention your website and the social media of ARCube in the description, so you can guys follow ARCube. I was really excited and I'm really grateful for you, Hind, that you joined and share your experience, which is a huge many years of experience, and I appreciate that we can share that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mila, for having me once again. Nice speaking to you.